Hey y'all, what's going on? So before I start the video today, I want to tell you about something that's coming up. I have a fellow farmer and content creator, good friend of mine, Catherine Ivy. The name of her station, YouTube channel is Catherine Ivy, so go check that out. But we're going to do a Zoom call tonight. Two farmers talking about farming, but we're a lot different. She's in Alaska, I'm in Arkansas. So ought to be interesting, so go check her out. That video will probably be dropping around the time this drops. I'm not sure yet, but it ought to be pretty cool. So that's that. Let's talk about what I'm doing today. So for those of you that may not know, basically you can see my whole market garden here in this chain link fence. It's actually my personal garden right now, but it's extremely small footprint here, and I have it all set up like a market garden, being as all of these are 30-inch beds, 30 inches wide, and I do that for a number of reasons. That's the standard for the equipment. I think I get better yields. There's a ton of reasons why people are doing this and why I'm doing it. It's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a couple of the disadvantages about that and what I'm going to try to do to fix it. So by having these 30-inch beds in here, I'm only getting 5 beds in this entire space. Now used to, I did tillage garden and I just planted single rows down through here, and in this space, this exact same space, I was getting somewhere between 10 and 13 rows every year. So if I planted a full row and one variety, I could potentially get 13 different varieties going at one time and have that diversity. So let's start with this bed right here. This is baby greens, and it has 2 varieties in it. You see the smaller plants over here are arugula, and that arugula takes up half of the bed, but it's running the entire way lengthways. Has some skips in it where the squirrels dug it out. That's a different story. On this side of the bed, we have some Mizuna that I've got several cuts off of, but it also is running the entire length of the bed. But about half of the bed is planted in, I think, 4 rows of arugula with the Jang cedar, and then 4 rows of arugula on that side with the Jang cedar. And the reason that I would want to do that for this or for a market garden is I want to split things up and have more variety. So for this year, I'm doing this for my own salads, so the more stuff I can get in that salad, the better, obviously. Well, the same thing when I go to sell, I will have certain greens that make up the base of that salad, and yeah, I'm going to have full beds of that, whatever that green is, but I want to mix it up a little and have a few auxiliary greens in there, things that'll be small percentages of the salad mix, but they'll add a different color or a different shape and just give me a better looking product, a better tasting product, and something that hopefully people want to buy more of. So this worked really well. It looks like the Mizuna crowded them out a little bit. For some reason I had super slow germination on the arugula. I planted all of this stuff really late, and that was part of it. So the Mizuna did grow faster and outpace the arugula a little bit, but mainly it's just the arugula is growing super slow. So still going to stick with this. I think it worked just fine. If you do this, just try to keep in mind you want 2 different greens or whatever that are going to grow about the same pace, so that one don't grow up and lay over onto the other side, which sort of happened here, but not enough to matter. So I'm in another bed right now, and I planted 2 things in this row. I got red Russian kale and radishes, white icicle radishes to be exact. But the red Russian kale was the main crop that I wanted out of here. That was a target crop, but not for baby greens like I had in the Mizuna. I wanted these to overwinter and make larger plants and have these big leaves in the spring and bunch those up and sell them or eat them as bunches. So the plan was to plant this 30-inch bed with 3 rows of kale. That would give them plenty of room to get up and make big plants. So you can see a row on the very outside, another row right here on the very outside, and then 1 row down the center. That was going to leave me with a lot of dead space in between 2 streaks all the way down this bed, with nothing growing in it, nothing covering the ground. So I decided to put radishes in that spot in the middle, just to cover the ground and get out a small crop of radishes. I want a few radishes to eat, but not so many. I can only eat so many, and when you're selling them, realistically, you don't need a whole lot, or at least I don't think I will for my market. So in each dead space, so say between the center row and the outside row, I made 2 passes with the Jang seeder with the radishes, and do that 2 times. It give me 4 rows of radishes. And so what happened with them being planted this thick is not only have they outcompeted the kale, but they're outcompeting themselves, and they're putting all of the energy into growing these leaves, and it's taking longer for the roots to size up. So this is a white icicle radish. But yeah, if I had have planted only a single row in between each one, the idea was that these would come up, the radishes would swell up and size up enough that I could pull them out really quick, and the crowding out the red Russian kale wouldn't have happened. I would have had all of the radishes out before this point. So they're still sizing up, and I will get them out of here, but it would have happened a lot faster if I'd have half the density and just put 1 row here and 1 row of radishes there. Let them size up, rip them out, and then let the kale do its thing. And the other thing is I didn't need any more radishes. I didn't need full 4 rows of radishes. 2 would have been plenty enough, just so I could have a few radish bunches to either eat or sell if I was selling this. Now this is a really interesting bed right here. So the main crop, the target crop, was these carrots, and they're looking really good. I got really good germination on them. I'm proud of that. But you can see all of this red mustard in here, and you're probably wondering why I did that. That was not the plan. I had let some mustard go to seed this spring for the pollinators, which I'm still glad I did that. It worked, but I let them go further until they went completely to seed, and those seeds just sit there. And this is how weed seeds work. So just like these mustard seeds had dropped, they were sitting in this bed. So I came through with the tilfer, still no dig, so I did tilfer about that deep, which I consider no dig, but I did that, and in doing so, when the carrots came up, so did the red mustard in full force, just like the way weed seeds would have when I turned the ground. Now I have all this red mustard, which I've been harvesting. It's, you know, been sort of a good thing for personal use. But yeah, I have all of this red mustard crowding out some of my carrots, and I'm going to have to get all of that out. And this would be a nightmare if I was doing this, as you know, market gardening, trying to sell it. But I'm going to make it work. But this is an accidental thing. I just wanted to show you that. I thought it was kind of funny. Just something to think about if you're going to let stuff flower and go to seed. Even though it's something you grow in the garden, it could become sort of weed-like and problematic. So we'll finish up on this last bed. And remember the kale with the radishes down the center? That was the idea here. Now I saw what went wrong over there, where I planted the radishes too thick. So I came through and made single passes with the radish here rather than too wide. And that worked pretty well. You can see the space in between, but the radishes weren't the target crop. This Swiss chard was a target crop, and I got almost 0 germination. So because of that, this little bed is sort of a bust. You know, I will get the radishes out of it, and if I let that shard go, I will get that. Moral of the story is something went a little wrong with every bed, but I do think that this tweak would have worked if I had got good germination on the shard, which I didn't. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope you can get some use out of that. And if you guys are doing this style of garden with the 30-inch beds and you know stuff that'll work better than what I'm trying, please leave it down in the comments, because that's how I learn and that's how everybody else learns. So yeah, if you know something, share it with me. My way is not the right way, it's just how I'm trying to get to the right way. So I think that'll be it for today. Appreciate y'all watching. Y'all be good. Bye. Pretty good.